viewers, I am Mrs. Don, welcoming you to the Joy of Learning program here in Monrovia, Liberia. We're on location at the Joy of Learning Montessori Institute in Town, Monrovia, Liberia. We will be focusing our time in the Toddler Classroom, one of the most important classes in our school. This is a time where children are learning and they are developing in their minds, their intelligence, their psychology, and so at this time frame in their life, this plane of development, it is very important how we present lessons to these children, what the environment encompasses, and how they are spoken to, what they are being taught, because this is where they developed. And so we need to make sure that our children are prepared to go through every plane of development. So welcome our Toddler Classroom to the program, and we hope you enjoy the programming. So come again, let us see what the toddlers are doing in class. Come with me. So you might ask, why is this age group so important, this toddler classroom? The students in this classroom range from 15 months to 3 years old. Now, from birth to adulthood, an adult passes through 4 6-year planes of development. So, and during which time an individual manifests characteristics and acquires new skills across the physical, moral, psychological, and spiritual facets of human existence. So these toddlers, they are ranging between 15 months to 3 years. So they're in the middle of the first phase, the first plane, which is from birth to 6 years old. And they are 15 months old to 3 years old. So it says that a child passes through one plane to the next. The child experiences a transformation in psychological characteristics. For example, when a child transitions from the first plane to the second plane, there will be a shift. There's a shift from where they have mastered one thing, and now they are starting all over to master another thing that is new to them. And it will take time before they actually master that thing. It says, while the planes of development are divided into separate 6-year periods, there is a point of transition for every individual. And it may not align exactly with the time frames. So there might be some children who lag behind, some who are a little faster, but the point is that there are points in these transitional planes, and there are times where majority of children learn at a certain time. So it's very important as educators, as we are aware of these planes of development, so that we can utilize time frames in a child's life that is most important to learning particular things. Once they learn those things at that particular time, they learn it best, their intelligence level is at a high level, and they are better learners, and they will not lag behind. So these planes of development are universal, it's not cultural, and they provide the framework to do, let's say, formative work from birth, following the birth, and then that enables individuals to obtain the best possible existence throughout their lifetime. Dr. Maria Montessori was an actual physician. So the reason that this curriculum or this philosophy is technical because she uses scientific study to study the development of humans and how we learn and how we develop. And then after she studied, she then took her scientific methods and her scientific studies and applied it into a curriculum, into a philosophy that teaches us how children learn best. As you can see, each teacher is teaching in small groups. And what they do is they walk around the classroom, and some children are able to work independently. Some children work in small groups. Some children work with a partner, and the teacher then directs and walks around. So we can see one teacher teaching language. So she's bringing life experiences into teaching the children small letter words that might be 3 or 4 letters, and then there's a picture associated with that word so that the children then acquires knowledge through experience, through memory, and also by identifying the picture to the sound or to the letters of the word. So memory then, or repetition, helps and aids in this learning process. And the younger children are, the better their memory is. So this is a form of education that is very big in Liberia, where repetition is used. It's a very good thing to use, but it can't be overused. We also have to use different forms of cognition when we're teaching, not just memory. But memory is a very, very good part of the learning process, especially with young children. As you can see from other tables, you see children using magnets. They are manipulating their hands. There's cognition used to open and close a button. So there's a child using buttoning, open and closing. There's another child that's beating, using her hand-eye coordination. There are children opening purses, closing, polishing, ordering, beating. These are very important human tendencies that we develop to perfection, so that as children learn, they are learning with that natural adaptation that all humans have to survive. Language then is something that's acquired. It's not something that is learned in isolation. It's something that is learned by social behaviors, repetition, and by cultural norms. So language has to be taught in a group setting, with the teacher as the guide, helping with pronunciation, helping with experiential learning and such. In a toddler classroom, the teacher is very important because how lessons are presented, thinking about our planes of development, is very important to the child's mind. The child has to be in a comfortable environment where they are encouraged to learn, they are encouraged to make mistakes, they're encouraged to work in a team, they're encouraged to work independently.
So we're going to spell lamb together. So let's spell it together. L-A-M-B. Lamb. No matter pronounce it wrong. L-A-M-B. Lamb. 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 Good. Then the last one will be what? Luck. Luck.
The first plane of development, which is considered the most important plane of development by Maria Montessori, is a period where it's known as the Absorbent Minds, where children are described as having a mind like a sponge, and it says that they learn by absorbing their environment and their social community. And it says that children have this effortless ability to absorb knowledge, language, culture through their five senses. These sensory impressions become embedded in their minds subconsciously without any efforts of the children. These sensory impressions are embedded in their mind. And the cognitive foundation laid during this time by the teacher and by the classroom has the greatest impact in each individual child.
Then the next one will be what? Bird. Bird. A bird. No, not bird. 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 What is bird? And the lay back eggs.
Now, this first plane of development is divided into 3 subplanes. So the primary goal of the first stage is 0 to 3 years, which is this toddler classroom. And it's acquired knowledge by obtaining language and labeling elements in the environment. Like you can see in the lesson, you see drum in the picture of a drum, you see bird in the picture of a bird, and the children are learning that way. This is done solely at the unconscious level. The primary goal of the second stage, which is 3 to 6 years, that's our children's house, is to consciously perfect one's understanding of the knowledge that they have acquired subconsciously. Now, knowledge is constructed through imitation, through repetition, and through action. And the children chooses from activities with intelligence and memory and self-awareness. The conscious mind works in concert with the body. So the first plane is punctuated by cravings for sensory input and order and information about the real world. And the gathering and development of knowledge during this time is indiscriminate. So the child absorbs both good and bad with equal vigor. That's why it's important that the classroom is perfectly maintained by both the teachers and the students, because they will absorb whatever that is in their surroundings. This is called the absorbent minds, where the children absorb everything in their mind like sponges. Now, the absorbent mind, it does not discriminate. It welcomes everything. It puts hope into everything, accepts poverty equally to wealth. It adopts any religion. And there is no prejudice in habits of any countryman. It accepts all things. So depending on the culture, depending on the expectation, the child absorbs his environment based upon the social input, but based upon the expectation of the adults in that particular setting.
And the color is what? Green. 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 The sound is what? Go. 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 This is what? A globe. You have a globe, you have a globe in the next class. In children's house, when you do that, you see the globe there. And this is what I put. Is what?
Can you do it? Go ahead. Open it.
This one is what?
This is like a prayer, right? Carol? No. I need your attention here, please. Carol, this is like a prayer. So like you are putting the box in. Carol, please pay attention. Like this, eh? Like this. Like this, Carol.
You have like things on your hand.
Yes.
In our last episode, we had talked about human tendencies, which says that all individuals are born with a set of internal drives that aid survival and help fulfill basic human needs and help children to adapt into their circumstances and the time and place from their births. So in this classroom, you can also see human tendencies. You can see the natural progression of how children learn, how they think, and what they do. And just to recap, we had talked about exploration and engagement as a characteristic of human tendencies. We talked about work and activity, and we talked about abstraction. So in this classroom, you see plenty of examples of exploration and engagement. You see where children are orienting, they're ordering, they're exploring, they're assessing, they're understanding, and they're interfacing with the environment and communicating well with others. So let's also look at the work and activity. We see students manipulating the elements in their environment, and we see that they're improving upon the strength and traits of self-perfection and repetition, exactness, and the efforts of others. That is also a part of the human tendency. And then finally, we see abstraction. And abstraction is where when they're learning and they can finally put that picture in their mind and think in abstract terms, utilizing their imagination, abstract thoughts, and other intellectual functions to navigate one's environment and transform ideas into realities and into invention and to adjust the cultural norms. So I'm sure you'll be able to see plenty of examples of human tendencies in this classroom also.
Fasten the potty. Then you put the potty here. Roll it up. Roll it all like this.
I hope that you have enjoyed our time with our toddlers. As you know, children are our most prized possession. They are the world's greatest treasures. It is our toddlers, our youngest children, who we should give the best to, the best education, the best water, the best living conditions, because they are our future. And we know that they have an absorbent mind. So whatever it is we expose them to is what their subconscious mind will absorb, and that's who they will become. If you look at any developing nation, the way they take care of the youngest children in their community is how their future stands. So we need to follow the same example and give the best to our youngest. Make sure that they are well taken care of because they are our future. So once again, welcome to the Joy of Learning TV program, and I hope to see you next time.